The awakening warm. That was the first thing the little kitten knew. A blanket of soft warmth wrapped around him like the inside of a freshly baked loaf of bread. He didn't remember falling asleep, but waking up felt like stepping out of a dream, one where everything smelled like milk and mystery. The world was big. That much was clear. It stretched out far beyond the cozy nest he'd been born into, and right now it seemed to be made mostly of bright light and strange sounds. The air was full of things that hummed, clicked, and beeped, and the kitten's ears flicked like tiny satellites trying to pick up every new signal. He blinked. Once. Twice. His eyes, still huge and slightly wobbly, tried to make sense of everything. A moving shadow, a dangling string, something shiny on the floor. Oh no, that was his own tail. Fascinating. He crouched, wiggled his behind like a mini predator, and pounced. Missed. The tail escaped in a perfect arc, mocking him. The kitten squeaked indignantly and tried again, landing with all the grace of a fuzzy potato. Somewhere above, a large creature, the human, chuckled. "Good morning, Whiskers," the human said, their voice soft but amused. Whiskers. So that was his name. At least, according to this tall, strange being who wore socks but no fur. Whiskers tilted his head, studying the creature. It was odd. It didn't meow. It didn't lick its paws, and it kept holding a glowing rectangle that made chirping noises. Possibly some kind of enchanted slab? A communication device to talk to other giants? He would have to investigate later. For now, the kitten had more important matters to attend to, namely exploring the world beyond the couch. He sniffed the carpet, a field of interesting smells, inspected the chair legs, tall trees of adventure, and attempted to climb the curtain, a tragic failure. The curtain swayed. The kitten swayed. Both fell dramatically. From the floor, Whiskers gave the curtain a glare that said, "You fought bravely, my enemy, but I shall return stronger." The human laughed again. "You're trouble, aren't you?" Whiskers didn't understand the words, but the tone felt approving. He puffed up his chest and gave a tiny meow that meant, "Yes, I am mighty." He wandered into the kitchen, tail high like a flag. Sunlight spilled across the tiles, turning them into a golden ocean. The kitten squinted. He took a cautious step. Cold. The floor was unexpectedly chilly, betrayal from below. He hopped backward, shook his paw, then darted forward again, slipping slightly but refusing to yield. The kitchen was a world of wonders. The humming beast under the counter fridge purred constantly, as if in conversation. The air smelled like old toast, soap, and mystery. And there, on the counter, stood a mountain, the food bowl. His destiny. But alas, it was too high. He tried jumping once, failed. Twice, slid backward. The third time, he almost reached the top before gravity reminded him of his limitations. Still, in his mind, he was a hero scaling the cliffs of destiny. "Whiskers?" "No," the human called, laughing. Ah, yes, the mysterious word again. "No," often accompanied by laughter, sometimes by a gentle scoop and a trip back to the floor. Whiskers decided, "No must mean congratulations. You are very brave, but not today." After a few hours of adventure, his energy began to fade. The world grew quieter, the light grew softer. He found a sunny spot near the window, warm again, just like the beginning. The sunlight wrapped around him like a friendly hug. He curled up, tail tucked neatly under his chin, purring like a tiny engine. As his eyes closed, he thought proudly about his morning achievements. He had battled the curtain, conquered the cold floor, and made peace, for now, with the giant human. Tomorrow, he decided, he would discover what was inside the glowing rectangle. Or perhaps what lived under the couch. Or maybe, just maybe, he'd finally catch that sneaky tail. The last thought before sleep was a triumphant one. The world is enormous, strange, and full of adventures. And I, Whiskers the Brave, am ready for all of them. The chase, Whiskers awoke to a sound. A faint, crisp tick-tick-tick, like someone tiptoeing on purpose. His ears twitched, his eyes blinked open, golden and wide. Something was moving out there, beyond the sunbeam that had wrapped him in warmth. Something alive. Something important. He rolled over, legs splayed in all directions, fur sticking up like he'd wrestled a hairbrush, and lost. Then, there it was again. The faint sound of motion. He froze. Every whisker went on high alert. His pupils widened until he looked like a tiny owl in panic mode. A breeze shifted the curtain. The curtain moved the dust. The dust disturbed a small, winged thing. A fly. To a human, it was nothing. To Whiskers, it was destiny. He crouched, his belly barely brushing the carpet. His tail twitched with surgical precision, his mind filled with the ancient knowledge of his ancestors, the great hunters of the savannah, the silent stalkers of the night. Somewhere deep within, a voice whispered, "Pounce." The fly landed on the windowsill. Whiskers crept forward, each paw a delicate whisper against the floor. He was a ghost. He was a shadow. He was Sneeze. So much for stealth. The fly took off, zigzagging wildly through the room like it had been trained by chaos itself. Whiskers sprang into action. The chase began. He launched himself after it with the grace of a malfunctioning rocket. The living room turned into a blur of motion. Paws skidding, tail whipping, curtains swaying in terror. The fly buzzed left, right, up, down. Whiskers followed with reckless determination and absolutely no plan. The human, mid-coffee sip, barely dodged a flying kitten missile. "Whiskers! What are you doing?" Whiskers ignored the shout. This was personal. The fly had insulted him by existing. He leapt onto the couch. The fly darted to the lamp. He jumped again. Thump! Missed by an inch. The lamp wobbled, survived by sheer luck. Whiskers, however, slid off the side in slow motion, eyes wide, paws flailing like a cartoon character. He landed in the laundry basket. Silence. Then, rustle. Movement. A tiny black nose appeared from under the pile of clothes. A sock monster? A new foe? No, it was his reflection in a shiny button. False alarm. He climbed out, ruffled but undefeated. The fly had landed on the coffee table. Whiskers advanced, each step careful. The human held their breath. It was the moment of truth. The hunter and the hunted. The eternal struggle of nature. Then the fly took off again. Whiskers meowed in outrage, a sound that translated roughly to, "Coward? Return and face your destiny." He chased the insect into the hallway, paws thundering across the floor like tiny drum beats. His claws clicked on tile, his breath puffed like a miniature steam engine. The fly zipped upward, toward the ceiling light. Whiskers looked up, calculating angles. The human brain might have used geometry. The kitten brain used vibes. He crouched, tail vibrating like a wound-up spring, and boing! Launched himself with heroic enthusiasm and zero control. He missed the fly, but successfully smacked his face into the wall. There was a moment of silence. The fly, perhaps out of respect, hovered politely. Whiskers blinked, shook his head, and decided to pretend that had been part of the plan. He sat down with exaggerated dignity, licking his paw as if to say, "I meant to do that." The fly finally disappeared out the open window, humming the song of victory. Whiskers stared after it, tail twitching. For a long moment, he sat perfectly still, as if reflecting on the profound futility of existence. Then he sneezed again. The human laughed so hard they almost dropped their mug. Whiskers gave them a slow blink, the universal cat sign for, "You may continue to worship me." He climbed onto the windowsill, watching the world outside. Leaves danced, birds darted, sunlight rippled across rooftops. Everything out there moved, alive, mysterious, begging to be chased. He pressed his nose to the glass, leaving a perfect kitten smudge. One day, he thought, he would go beyond this window. One day, he would chase things that flew farther and faster. But for now, the great hunter had earned his rest. He curled up beside the window, tail wrapped neatly around his paws. The human whispered, "Crazy little cat." Whiskers purred softly, half asleep already. His last drowsy thought was simple and smug. The fly may have escaped, but I definitely scared it. And in his dreams, he caught it every single time.